Hey everyone, this is Morgan Zegers from YAAS, and today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so we are going to do our best to honor this iconic American figure. One of the most famous MLK Jr. quotes is, "It is not possible to be in favor of justice for some people and not be in favor of justice for all people." Many in our generation are focused on ensuring Americans of every color receive equal justice under the law, and that is fantastic. Thank you for doing so. Now we have a challenge for you. In honor of Martin Luther King Jr., we encourage everyone to begin looking into the oppressive and deadly actions of the Communist Party of China. Here are 7 examples of China rejecting its citizens' basic human rights. Number 1, over 2 million Muslims are currently being held in concentration camps being re-educated by the Chinese Communist Party. Even worse, Disney filmed the recent Mulan movie near the concentration camps in China and even credited the bureau that helped imprison the Muslims in the movie credits. Number 2, state-sponsored forced labor, aka slavery, is prominent in the area where the Communist Party built the concentration camps for the Uyghur Muslims and other minority groups. China subsidizes Chinese companies to build factories near the camps and then transfers camp victims to the factories to work as slaves, but they disguise it under words like vocational training and poverty alleviation programs. You might be shocked to hear this, but here are some of the companies, just some, linked to the slave labor from camps in China: Nike, Adidas, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Samsung, Gap, Tommy Hilfiger, BMW, General Motors, Jaguar, Mercedes-Benz, and again, that's just a few. Number 3, Communist China has a history of sterilizing its citizens without consent and even aborting babies without the consent of the mother, basically killing the child. The one-child policy towards the end of the 20th century was intended to limit population growth and included aborting babies and then sterilizing women who got pregnant with a second child. And now, today, China claims that they are freeing women and empowering women in their concentration camps from being baby-making machines, which is just a fluff way of saying that they are sterilizing these women by force. Number 4, back in the first days of COVID-19, doctors and journalists in China tried to speak out about the fact that Communist China was hiding key facts about a mysterious new virus, including the fact that coronavirus spread from person to person. Many of the doctors and journalists have either been arrested or have just gone missing. This is just one example of mysterious disappearances or even broad daylight arrests of anyone who dares to speak truth to power in China. Number 5, there is little to no freedom of expression in Communist China. Thousands of websites are blocked from the Chinese people, including major social platforms like Google, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. This is done to ensure that the people cannot seek information that contradicts the messaging and propaganda of the Communist Party or use the internet and its social media platforms to organize against the party. Number 6, China would love for us to forget about this one, but we will not. Just a few decades ago, the Tiananmen Square massacre took place. This is where the picture of Tank Man comes from that we've probably all seen in our history class. Like every communist regime, China tries really hard to hide the truth about this, including the numbers. But here's the facts. China arrested and killed about 10,000 peaceful and pro-democracy protesters and tried to act like they just disappeared or it never happened in the first place. Let's forget about it. And that leads me to my last example, the suppression of the Hong Kong pro-democracy protesters. The people of Hong Kong, especially the younger generations, have been building a movement against the communist regime for years now, with the mission to end up like America, with freedom and true representative government. But within the first week of 2021, Chinese communist forces in Hong Kong have arrested over 50 of the top leaders of the pro-democracy movement, including political candidates and lawyers. China is presenting our world with one of the gravest instances of rejection of human rights. If you believe in ensuring justice for all, please consider researching the issue more after this video and speaking up against this terrible, oppressive regime. In honor of Martin Luther King Jr., we believe it is safe to say this is an issue he would want Americans to come together on to achieve swift, meaningful change for the poor people suffering under the Chinese Communist Party. Speaking truth to power in 2021 means speaking out against the Chinese Communist Party, the companies that profit from its slave labor, and the tech companies enabling the censorship of its people.